Most women are in denial. So, most women today don't want to admit that men are much better at reading women than they realize. And most men don't need a relationship to be happy or to survive. Why is it that so many women cannot accept the fact that men can survive happily without a relationship while the average woman cannot? Watch to the end of the video to have these questions fully answered. Today's video comes from Riva TV. Her channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go and check out her content. Don't forget to follow so far on Rumble. Our Rumble will also be linked in the description of the video. Don't let them tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. Go and check out Angry's Crypto Academy to learn how to buy, sell, and trade crypto while making massive profit. It's linked in the description of the video. You can also scan the QR code on the screen to check out the academy. Hit the like button, turn on notifications, and hit the subscribe button to never miss another video ever again and help push us out into the YouTube algorithm. And now let's begin.
I don't think it's talked about enough at how well men read women. Men can literally look at you and know so much about you.
River TV. What's up, guys? It's your girl Riva, and I'm back again with another video. So I actually saw this video on my own when I was scrolling through the wonderful world of TikTok, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. I literally only saw like a very small snippet of the beginning of the video, and I wanted to save the rest to watch it authentically with you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and press play, pause, play, then give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions on this entire situation.
You know, a lot of women get on this app and they, say certain things about men like they're dumb and things like that. And whether I agree or disagree, we're not here to talk about that. But what we will talk about is
I disagree, but okay.
how men are very good at reading people. I don't think it's talked about enough at how well men read women. Okay, specifically, men can also judge other men very well, even though they don't speak up on other men as often as they will on women. Men can literally look at you and know so much about you. And I've learned this through studying them. I've read books. One of the books I'm reading right now is Psychology of Gender, Men and Women, and also through listening to their podcasts and the videos that they watch and just watching them online. They read women like a book. You thought you knew your friends. I'm telling you, a man can come around and he will tell you. He's like your mom. You know how your mom would like, oh, that's not your friend. That's how men are. Men know what type of woman you are based off how you dressed, how you act around him and his homeboys, and even the way you act with your friends.
I want to stop right here for a second because she's preaching right now. Okay, she is. She's got it. She's got it in the bag right now. Now, starting off with how women have this idea like, oh, men are dumb, men don't know anything. Like, women literally walk around with that narrative. I 100% disagree with that. And I always say that women who talk so negatively about men, like, and generalize all of them and say that they're all bad and they're trash and they're dumb and that they're this and all these things, I always say they clearly do not know men. They clearly do not. Like, just like how she's saying, 100%, a man can analyze a person and just assess them. And not because he's not speaking up a lot, not because he doesn't talk a lot, does not mean that he doesn't know you from A to Z. That's why when men speak on the nature of women, it's very different than when women speak on the nature of men, because women speak off of ideology, thoughts, what they think, and men are speaking off of logic, right? They're speaking off of, if 1 plus 1 equals 2, you act like this, you're doing this, this is the result that we're going to get in the end. And majority of the time, they are spot on.
Now, something I want to point out and add to is the notion that the fact that as men are getting older, as time is moving forward, the knowledge that's accumulating among men is growing. This is something that women don't comprehend. And as a result of this, you now have a generation of men who are able to begin reading women better than the average man could read a woman back in the day. Don't get me wrong, there are men who could read women back in the day, but they were fewer and far in between because most of our fathers were weak men. Okay? The baby boomers, these were weak individuals. Weak men create hard times. And look at the times that we now live in, very hard times. However, because of red pill knowledge and now black pill knowledge, men are able to read and assess women more rapidly than men have been able to in the last 100 years, that the average man has been able to in the last 100 years. Something big that has shifted is the perception of women. You see, women created this perception that they are more honest and pure than men. That mask has now been ripped off. Without trust, the only thing that you have left is is basically scrutiny. Because if you don't trust someone, now you're more likely to scrutinize them. And that's what women have now done, because now that men no longer just trust women by default, because there was a time where women were trusted more than men just because they were women. Go back just a few years ago. Go back, 6, 7 years ago to the M2 era where it was believe all women. Why? Because women are more virtuous than men. Women are more honest than men. There are just some things that women will not lie about while men will lie about. This is one of the reasons why, if you why there was a perception that children were safer with women than men. All of these things, and that's beginning to change rapidly. The behaviors, the actions of women, calling men immature, and all of this, the constant badgering, it has now led to women being viewed as no longer the default of honesty. So now men are scrutinizing everything that women say, everything that women do, and women have really no recourse to it other than trying to pretend. Other than using things like sign language, shame, insults, guilt, gaslighting, because they need to be right. Because men have woken up. Men are seeing through the mask. You have one of the things I'm noticing now is where you have women going out and claiming that they are still virgins. So you'll have two women out on the streets, and they're dressed somewhat promiscuous. They're dressed promiscuously, and they're covered in tattoos, and they're telling people that they're virgins. And they're like, "Oh, we only dress like this because we want attention, or we're just we do it for ourselves." Oh, so you're both virgins, yes. And why are you dressed like this? We do it for ourselves. It makes us feel special. Oh, so you're not out looking for a relationship? Nope, nope. We love Jesus and My Little Pony. This is how bad things have gotten. And of course, they think there always be simps who fall for it? Of course. But the average man is waking up and looking at women and they can just dissect, okay, so that's a lie, and they're just seeing how much they can lie to us. And the more that women lie to men, and the more men learn that these are lies, the less men believe anything that a woman says. And they don't understand just how bad they're making the situation for not only themselves, but other women when they do things like this. It's just nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. A man can basically look at a woman now based on the way that she dresses, based on the way that she speaks, all of these factors. And if you can control your lust as a man, you can basically start to decipher who a woman is, where she's coming from, what kind of family she has, what she's going to be like as a wife, what she's actually looking for. If a woman starts saying things like you need to take me out on a nice date, if she starts pushing for, like a nice dinner before you even know who she is, you know that you automatically know there's a problem. If a woman demands a nice meal before you even know who she is, before you've gotten to know her, that's a problem. If she doesn't bring anything to the relationship, for example, if she doesn't like you more than you like her, if she's not trying to show you that she likes you more than you like her, that's a problem. There are constant red flags everywhere. Okay? Bro, you could just look at the eyes and realize there are problems. Okay? You could just look at the eyes and realize there are problems at this point. Women don't understand just how far things have changed and how much they're going to continue changing, because we're moving past red pill right now. What we are moving into is to the black pill era. The red pill era is very mature. It's extremely mature. Everyone has red pill knowledge. Your granddad has red pill knowledge at this point. The red pill is so nice. The red pill is now the red pill was like a 2010s thing that began to take off in the 90s. Okay, it's like so 90s at this point, and it's like not even 90s, but it's like it feels like 30 years ago. Even though it was more like 10, it feels like 30 because it started off back in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, and then it really took off in the early 2000s and then 2010s. It began maturing, and now it's like you'd be an idiot if you don't know what red pill knowledge is. So now we're moving into the black pill era. And the black pill era is basically looking at how just how dark the world actually is, just how dark relationships actually are, just how much you really should be distrustful of society and relationships today. And women don't even comprehend this. They think that they can still keep on playing the same exact games, using the same deceptive methods that they were using before, because women are more adverse, more adept with things like manipulation than men. They're built for it. It's a survival method. They don't understand that the old rules, the old tactics just aren't going to work anymore. Men are busy focusing on themselves, getting their money, and building a relationship with God. Men are learning how to control their lust. The dudes out there that are still chasing are the Sims. And the relationships that women have with the Sims, they don't understand. These men aren't even trying to marry you. They're not trying to marry you. They're just trying to take what little value you have left and then basic and be out.
The what you post, all of that stuff, they are watching. They are watching you. They are forming an opinion. And might I add that they're usually not wrong when it comes to judging women. They're usually not wrong. Okay. And I personally have stopped being friends with women based off of how men treat them. Okay. Stay with me, sister. Stay with me. So I had a friend, and I've been knowing her since grade school. Cool person, right? But every time we would hang out and we'd talk about our dating life, she would always tell me about how men were asking her for money. Men were making her pay for the first date or go 50-50, or telling her I lost my wallet, or some egregious story happened when it was time to pay the bill. Or they were asking to like borrow her car or stay with her. It was just always something. And I would be like shocked. I'd be like, girl, what are you talking? Like, I would always be so intrigued because I've never had this experience. Like, I've never been told to pay for, or asked to pay for a date. I don't do any of that. But I would be intrigued. And then when I hit 25, it was something that developed up here, the frontal lobe. I was like, oh, the reason why they are asking her these things or treating her this way is because of low self-esteem. And then I started to see it. I started to see it in the way she walked and the way she carried herself in the decisions. I started to see it naturally, right? And then I had another friend, cut her off too. She, every time we went out, it was like men just naturally spoke very dirty to her. I'm talking about like they were just very, like, I'm not gonna say they're aggressive, but they were just very sexual with her.
I want to stop right.
Let me make this something very clear. So her perception is that, oh, it's because that this woman has just very low self-esteem. That's why the men that she's with are taking advantage of her. Let me make this very clear. The average man is not going to try to take advantage of the average woman. The average man is going to try to create value in the relationship. The average man is going to try to take care of the average woman. This woman is assuming, she's looking at it from a woman's perspective and coming to the conclusion that, oh, this is because she's showing that she doesn't have the proper self-esteem to show her own self-worth. What's happening here is that it's the men that she's choosing that are leading to this problem. Because if she was choosing men of good moral character, if she was doing a better job screening, this wouldn't happen. What she doesn't want to, bro, if you're going on dates with Chad, Tyrone, Ray Ray, Pookie, Enrique, Miguel, Juan, Pancho, they love little Pancho. If you're going out and having relationships with these individuals and then you find yourself having to pick up the bill, don't be surprised because you're not screening for good men. Good men, an average, and don't get me wrong, in modern day society, a lot of men don't want to pick up the bill anymore. But because they know that they're being taken advantage of by foodies. But it's not solely the energy that you're putting off; it's the men that you are choosing. It's not even just like the men that you're attracting, it's the men that you're choosing. Because think about this, are the ones who have to say yes. Men have to approach a woman, women have to say yes. So of all the men that are approaching her, she's saying yes to the worst kinds of dudes. She's saying yes to dudes who are just not really that good. Now, is it possible that she could be attracting not so great dudes? There is that possibility as well. Okay, and that could have to do with the way that she carries herself. That could possibly, suggest that maybe she's just not, her status is not what she thinks it is. Like, for example, how are you taking care of yourself? Where are you, how are you presenting yourself? Where are you going? Where are you meeting these men? There's a lot of factors here. Women don't take any accountability for the kinds of men that they're in relationships with. The average man isn't going to do you like that. And I'm just being real. The average man is not going to go on a date and ask you to borrow some money. Okay, this is that's not it's not because that's what women do. Women basically look at you and they basically think about how much they look at your behavior and they're like, "Oh, this guy is a simp. I can take advantage of the situation based on this guy's behavior." Men are different. Men are different. Okay? So we operate kind of more with a moral compass. It's true. It's true. It's not like women where where they're looking at your behavior and they're like, "Oh, well, you don't have any confidence, so I can go, I can pick at this." Or, no, 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 no. It's the men themselves and the character, their own personal character. In a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now.
Second, because I do want to touch on what she's saying. You see, I always say this. I always say that they say that women are the reciprocators, right? Technically, in a relationship, both people are reciprocators. Okay, if we want to be technical. But a lot of times, I always say that a man is going based off of how you present yourself. If you show, nice qualities, girlfriend qualities, he makes you a girlfriend. If you show wife qualities, he makes you a wife. If you show motherly qualities, he makes you a mother. Like, people think it's the opposite. They're like, oh, women are the multipliers, and in ways we are. But I really believe that it is based off of how the woman presents herself, and that is how that basically says what kind of man you're gonna get out of the man, right? Like, I don't believe that a man acts one way across the board with every woman that he deals with. I believe that
Listen to me. They're confused. This is okay. This is see. This is unfortunate. I respect Riva, but she's refusing to acknowledge that men and women are different. Men and women are not. Women women act across the board different based on the man that you're dealing with. That's how women are. A woman will be like a housewife to one man, and then she will basically be kind of narcissistic, take advantage of another man. Women will take money from one man and use and spend that money on another man. That's how women operate. And unfortunately, I can see the differences in mental state, and it's hard for River to comprehend that men are different. All right. That's not to say that there are not dudes out there who, if depending on what you allow them to do, that will decide how they treat you. Okay. But on average, no, men are different. We don't have time for all of those games. Men tend, usually if a man is a decent person, he's a decent person across the board. If a man is a scumbag, he's a scumbag across the board. With women, it can be different. It comes down to if she likes you, if she likes you, she'll treat you well. If she doesn't like you, she'll take advantage of you. This is how, and guys, there's just like, I guess there's no real, women are stuck in their own philosophy of judging men and believing that men are women. As a men, we can understand that we are not women. We are not the same. Women think differently than we do. But for women, even when they're trying to understand us, they struggle because they're looking at us from the lens of a woman. They're believing that our behavior, human behavior, is the same for both men and women. Even when they're trying to say, well, men are like this and women are like this, they're still they still can't accept that no, most men are if a man is a decent person, he's a decent person. Okay? He's a decent person most of the time. Are we imperfect human beings? Yes, but men tend to be more consistent. If a man is decent to one, men tend to be decent to all the women they go on relationships with. Okay, they tend to be more along the line. So, for example, what you see is what you get. Is there any variance? Of course, we're not perfect, but our behavior tends to be consistent. So, for example, if we'll typically pay for the same, if we're a type of guy who pays for the first date, we'll always pay for the first date. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Women, on the other hand, to determine if she's going to be physically intimate with someone, she determines that based on their behavior. It doesn't mean that like every guy she goes on a date with, she's going to be intimate with. In fact, it could just it specifically, like, for example, she's not going to be intimate with John, but she'll be intimate with Jamal, right? Because of behavior. Men and women are not the same, and it's unfortunate that we're just never going to align on this. We're just never going to align on this because women are determined that they can always view men through their own lens. It's crazy.
Based off of the woman that you are will say what kind of traits you're going to extract from a certain type of man. And so in her talking about her friend that had the low self-esteem, it's like, oh, that's why guys treat you like this. In the friend that she's talking about that she's overly, sexualized, is obviously based off of the way that she is either interacting, eye contact.
Now, don't get me wrong. For example, if a woman is out there dressed a certain way, then yes, men may view her a certain way, and men may treat her a certain way. But again, it varies. But if it's just like a normal person, like you're dressed normal, and you know, usually if a person is a scumbag, they're a scumbag. And what she's attracting, what there a lot of women attract, it's like what you're attracting, what you're choosing, not just attracting, what you're choosing are men with this kind of behavior. Okay, it's like women seem to think that if they're more masculine and determined and confident, then they'll get what they want from men. No one likes that type of aggressive behavior. Okay, and it's not consistent. Just because you're able to get a man to do certain things at one period of time doesn't mean that you'll be able to consistently get him to do these things over and over and over again. Because eventually men get tired and just walk away. But guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree most women are in denial? Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.